Hello, I'm Shannon Yavorsky, a partner at Orrick Harrington & Sutcliffe and the co-head of our AI practice. Today, I'm going to be talking about the AI risks in relation to privacy. We're going to start with the distinction between privacy and security. Privacy is the right of individuals to have control over what personal data is collected about them and how it's used and shared. Security, on the other hand, is the obligation of companies to protect that information using reasonable security measures, such as administrative, physical, and technical safeguards. These measures are often guided by legal requirements, industry standards, and best practices. It's important to note, while that you can have security without privacy, you can't have privacy without security. Both privacy and security are critically important to the use and deployment of AI systems. We wanted to start with the core privacy principles that form the foundation of modern privacy. These are essential to ensure that personal data, including personal data used in AI systems, is handled responsibly and ethically. There are 6 key principles we need to focus on. Transparency and notice. This principle emphasizes the importance of processing data in a transparent manner. People should be informed about how their data is being collected, used, shared, and stored. So, providing privacy notices to consumers. Purpose limitation. Data should be collected for specified, explicit, and legitimate purposes. It should not be further processed in ways that are incompatible with those initial purposes. Data minimization. This principle dictates that data collected should be adequate, relevant, and limited to what is necessary for the purposes for which it's processed. In other words, you should only collect the data you need and no more. Storage limitation. This principle says that personal data should be maintained in an identifiable form no longer than necessary for the purpose for which it's processed. This is why we have data retention policies. And accuracy, ensuring that personal data is accurate and kept up to date. And security safeguards, data should be processed in a manner that ensures appropriate security. These core privacy principles are not just theoretical concepts. They're practical guidelines that help navigate data protection. As you continue to develop and deploy AI systems, it's important to integrate these principles into your processes and practices to effectively manage privacy risks in relation to AI. Now let's explore how AI systems can challenge the core privacy principles we just discussed. AI technology, while incredibly powerful and transformative, often operates in ways that can be diametrically opposed to basic privacy concepts. Here are some key areas where AI systems and privacy principles can clash. Transparency. One of the fundamental privacy principles we talked about is transparency, which requires clear communication about how data is collected, used, shared, and stored. However, AI systems often function as black boxes, meaning their internal workings are not easily understood even by their developers. This opacity can create new, unforeseen data use cases long after the initial data collection, making it difficult to provide transparent and accurate notices to individuals about how their data is being used. Choice. Privacy principles emphasize the importance of giving people control over their data. In the context of AI, these choice mechanisms can be ineffective or unavailable. Consumers may not have a direct relationship with the AI provider, and even if they do, the choice to opt out may be meaningless if their data has already been sold or shared downstream or used to train a model. Minimization. Data minimization is about limiting data collection and use to what is necessary for specified purposes. However, AI systems thrive on large volumes of data, often collected from a variety of sources. This data maximization approach is at odds with the principle of minimization, as AI systems require extensive datasets to improve their accuracy and performance. Access. Privacy principles grant individuals the right to access their personal data. AI systems, however, can complicate these rights. The complexity of AI models can make it challenging to provide individuals with meaningful access to their data, or to ensure that modifications and deletions are accurately reflected in the AI's operations. And security. While security is a cornerstone of privacy, AI systems can introduce new vulnerabilities. By recognizing and addressing these challenges, you can better align AI initiatives with your commitment to protecting privacy. Next, let's discuss the rise of comprehensive data protection laws and their implications for AI governance and privacy. Over the past few years, we have seen a significant increase in the enactment of data protection legislation worldwide. These laws are designed to safeguard personal data and ensure that organizations handle it responsibly. These laws often include provisions that are relevant to AI systems. For example, the GDPR and U.S. state privacy laws include obligations in relation to automated decision-making, which is central to many AI systems. These laws impose significant obligations on organizations to ensure transparency, accountability, and respect for individuals' rights. As you continue to develop and deploy AI systems, it's important to stay informed about these legal requirements and integrate them into your privacy and AI governance frameworks. By understanding and complying with these laws, you can better protect personal data and manage the privacy risks associated with AI. This proactive approach not only helps us meet legal obligations, but also builds trust with customers, employees, and other stakeholders. Let's look at some key examples of new legislation. The EU General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR, is one of the most stringent and influential data protection laws globally. It applies to any company processing data related to their establishment in the EU or pertaining to data subjects in the EU. The GDPR mandates several critical requirements. Transparency. This word keeps coming up. Companies must disclose the categories of personal data they process, how the data is retained, shared, and transferred internationally. And access. Individuals have the right to access their personal data being processed by the business and to receive a portable copy of the data they provided. Rectification. Companies must rectify inaccurate personal data upon request. Erasure. Individuals have the right to request the erasure of personal data, subject to certain exceptions. And then restriction and objection. Individuals can restrict the processing of their data in certain circumstances and object to processing, including for direct marketing purposes. And then there's cross-border data transfer. The GDPR prohibits the processing of special categories of data, such as biometric information, unless an exception applies. It also restricts international data transfers without appropriate safeguards. And contracts. Contracts with third parties processing personal data on behalf of a business must restrict processing to the business's instructions. And finally, and importantly, automated decision-making. Individuals have the right not to be subject to decisions based solely on automated processing, including profiling, which produces legal effects or similarly significant impacts. U.S. state privacy laws. In the United States, privacy regulation is more fragmented, with individual states enacting their own comprehensive privacy laws. These laws focus on privacy disclosures and data subject rights. Key elements include transparency, but they also include provisions in relation to automated decision-making and providing individuals with the right to opt out of automated decision-making. In addition to general data protection laws, there are subject matter specific laws that are relevant to AI systems when these systems process particularly sensitive types of personal data. So some examples are biometric information. And these are laws regulating the use of biometric data, such as retina or iris scans, fingerprints, voice prints, or scans of hand or face geometry. And health information. Regulations like HIPAA in the U.S. govern protected health information. Financial information, there are laws protecting information provided by consumers or derived from transactions with consumers in the context of financial products or services. And finally, children's information. Regulations like COPPA in the U.S. protect individually identifiable information collected online about children under the age of 13. If you're building an AI system using any of these kinds of data, you may have a range of obligations under the relevant federal law. Now let's delve into the specific privacy risks introduced by AI systems. While AI offers tremendous potential for innovation and efficiency, it also brings unique challenges that can impact privacy in significant ways. Privacy notice commitments and processor terms may restrict the ability to use personal data to train AI or create generative content. Sharing personal data with AI vendors may constitute a sale, necessitating the offer of the right to opt out. Processing personal data in new ways through AI may result in new purposes of processing, triggering purpose limitation restrictions. Data previously considered anonymized or pseudonymized may be at a higher risk of re-identification through AI. And then outputs resembling data subjects or stating facts about data subjects may be perceived as being invasive of individual privacy. So how do we manage these risks? We manage these risks by building a flexible privacy and AI compliance program. As I talked about earlier, many of the privacy laws around the world share similar key features, which are built around the core privacy principles that I discussed. So by building a privacy program around these core pillars, companies can mitigate risk and ensure that their programs will cover new laws that come online. A privacy and AI compliance program starts with governance, who's in charge of the program, and potentially a committee or working group made up of individuals from different parts of the company. As we've discussed, AI introduces unique privacy risks that require careful management. To effectively address these risks, you need a comprehensive and proactive approach. Let's explore the key strategies for managing AI privacy risks. First and foremost, awareness is essential. You need to understand how AI technology works, what tools are available, and how people are using them. This includes staying informed about the latest developments in AI, including emerging legislation and guidance. Conducting regular training and working group sessions can help inform employees at all levels of the organization. This not only raises awareness, but also helps avoid preventable harms, such as prompt-based risks and the use of unapproved tools. Notably, conducting AI training is a legal requirement in the EU AI Act and emerging legislation. It's important to understand the risks across the entire AI lifecycle, from data gathering and preparation to model deployment and monitoring. Starting at the beginning, during data gathering, you need to assess whether personal data is involved and if the AI system is intended to autonomously make important decisions. When developing and deploying models, you should take steps to de-identify personal data and monitor model outputs to ensure they don't inadvertently reveal personal data or enable re-identification when combined with other data sets. You also have to consider whether users can input sensitive data into the AI system and take appropriate measures to mitigate any associated risks. Revisiting and updating existing organizational policies is another critical step. You should apply your privacy, security, and risk management policies to new AI initiatives. Consider developing an AI responsible use policy that outlines the company's position and guardrails for the use of AI. This policy should include restrictions on using confidential business information or personal data and emphasize the responsibility for human oversight and review of AI-generated content. Finally, consider updating other existing policies and whether they need to be updated to address AI concerns. For example, a security policy may need to be updated to address emerging AI risks. Effective governance is key to managing AI privacy risks. You should designate diverse cross-discipline groups responsible for developing and overseeing the proper use of AI. Identify AI champions within teams who are passionate about the field and can serve as the first point of contact for new policies, processes, and tools. Build in flexibility to address evolving technology, law, and ethics. This ensures that your governance framework can adapt to new challenges and opportunities as they arise. I'll leave you with this final set of high-level questions that can help you think about managing privacy risks within your organization. Thanks for joining me today.